From that Lions game when Aaron Glenn was on the other side there going into this Jets matchup?
Whoa, Jesus, sorry. Yeah, they must have. You know, obviously we'll watch it. I think it's a different outfit. They got some absolute studs on this defense. Obviously, their front is really solid. They get after the quarterback really well. They work together really well, and their front and the back end are working in unison right now. So we're gonna have our hands full and try not to. We only have one game of tape. So we gotta trust our base rules and be prepared for whatever they can throw at us.
Josh, after you've watched the film and done all the breakdown, when you're done with that, do you reflect on the game the other night and just realize how many things had to go right for that to end up happening? Because a lot of stuff happened in that game to happen what happened. Right?
Yeah, well, I think I've said it in some of these interviews before. Of sometimes you need the ball to bounce your way, and it did on Sunday night. And just fortunate enough we can come away with that with a win. Now, obviously, that has no bearing or impact on next week's game, or this week's game, I should say, whatsoever. So, we gotta wash it and forget about it, and put our best foot forward this week.
As Joe on Monday was, kind of lamenting some of the three and outs, and you look at the end result, 41 points, and it's certainly not that the offense is broken, but what were the team meetings like on Monday? Because he took a tone of, you guys had a lot to clean up despite scoring 41 points.
100%. I've always kind of lived under the fact that the film is never as good as you think, and it's never as bad as you think. So yeah, there's a lot to clean up, a lot of things that I can do better and be better at, and there's a couple of times where ball was in harm's way. I got to clean that up, but yeah, just making sure that each and every play that we have our plan, we have our answers, and we go out, try to execute to the best of our abilities.
Such an emotional game on Sunday. How do you, maybe easier said than done, but emotionally, mentally turn the page?
Yeah, I think it's being around the guys, having a good week of practice, making sure that we played a lot of plays on the offensive side of the ball, so making sure that we're getting our rehab work done and hitting the tubs and getting adequate sleep and recovery. So our focus is the next one, so that's where it's at.
Josh, there's been a few times where the quarterback sneak has been stopped. How confident are you still in that play?
Very confident. I know sometimes at the goal line, defenses bring in some bigger personnel, and they gap down quite well. So we'll look at it, we'll learn from it, and we'll figure it out.
Kind of related. Was talking to Joe Brady this week about 2-point conversions in general, and they're down around the league, just like as a trend league-wide. Why are they so challenging? What goes into that play that makes it so hard, no matter what the call is?
Well, it's a tight field. When you're down there, obviously you have the inline as another defender. What teams are doing defensively down there and playing some zero and zero sloop and having zone eyes and passing things off, and it just gets real tight. So got to be good with ball placement, got to be good with concepts down there, and making sure that again we're practicing those plays and when it comes down to it, making sure that we are converting on those. So I know we weren't good enough in that aspect this last game.
For the first three quarters, things were sort of slow to develop for Keon and for Josh Palmer. Certainly not the case in the fourth quarter. To get those two guys going the way they were in that final quarter, just what can that mean for this offense moving forward?
Yeah, it means a lot. Anytime that we can get the ball into our playmakers' hands, especially down the field, it's good things for us. So again, we got to keep working hard, keep finding ways to get the ball to them, and start faster.
We all know about the work that he put in, because he was unhappy about his season. I know Sean and Brandon sort of insinuated that he needed to be better. What have you seen since he's been back, and then how that manifested the other night?
I think just growth not just as a player, but as a person. Learning how to be a professional football player. He's in here as early as anybody, getting rehab and work done on his body, and doing all the little things right. So I think when you got guys that care about their job, do the little things right, they're there where they're supposed to be, typically good things happen, and that's just what you saw this game.
Sean had mentioned that this needs to be a really hard week because there was a lot that he didn't like in the game, and he would imagine you guys didn't like. But I guess how difficult is it kind of coming off of a game that there was so much excitement and it was a win? It feels like it'd be a lot easier to turn the page after a loss than it is after a win.
Yes, and I mean, I just think it's hard sometimes for our guys. You know, we played, I think, almost 90 plays. It's a lot of stress on the body. So like I said, making sure guys are getting their rehab work done and doing everything they can to feel physically as best as they can come Sunday. And playing a late game, and we had a Sunday at 1 o'clock. It's been a while since we've had a 1 o'clock game on Sunday. So just making sure that our schedules are in routine and just again trusting the process.
Is it hard to kind of like come off of the high of a win? Like, I know we always hear about the.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I think we got a pretty good group in terms of where our focus is at.
Could you sense the emphasis to make this a harder week here, even just on a Wednesday?
Yeah, I know. Coach talked about in the meeting room today, and this is it's a tough sport. It's not for everybody. You got to be a little sick to love this game, and we got some sickos.
You guys have won so many games. Do you think Sean has become adept at making sure that you guys don't float to New York on a high off that game, like bringing you down after wins by making sure that that's not what resonates into the next week?
Maybe. I think he trusts his leaders on this team to do that for him, though. So I think internally, as players, we're making sure of that too.
You guys after the game talked about your calmness, down 15 points on the sideline. Where does that come from for you to kind of like be calm despite the situation like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's been a learned thing over the last few years, and just understanding when and when not to press and when to, just kind of calm the storm and ride the wave, if you will. So just knowing that, in big moments, our defense, knowing that they're going to step up and make some plays for us, and then obviously when it's our turn, it's our job to make those plays, and just the confidence that I have in our guys.
So obviously you guys have been teammates your whole careers, but with a player like Ed Oliver, felt like he was really disrupting things the other night. When you're going up against somebody who is doing that, how difficult does it make your job as the quarterback? Obviously it would be Ed, but somebody who's doing things like that.
Interior pressure is by far, I think, the hardest thing for an offense and a quarterback especially. And, I know the edge guys get paid a lot, and they get after the quarterback a lot. But typically when you're able to step up into a clean pocket, you're living pretty good. Now, when you're needing to step up and there's nowhere to step up because of interior pressure, that makes it really tough on us. And I think he's doing a great job of that, and we're going to need more of that going forward.
Josh, working with Terrell Bernard as co-captain, just how have you seen him evolve as a leader in the last couple of years?
I think just the weight that his words carry, it just it means a lot when he says something. Guys respect him, guys trust him. Again, another guy that's just constantly doing the right thing. He's in the weight room, in the training room, in the tubs, watching film at the same time. Just, again, the small things that aren't small things, and people notice that. Thank you, guys.